Well, a very good morning and welcome back to Novе-Место with 24 teams, 48 athletes ready to go for the single mixed relay. Only the second single mixed of the season, and I think it could possibly be the best one we've ever seen. Not because of the quality of the athletes, but because of the equality within the teams. It's so unusual not to have two or three teams that shine in terms of their ability. I can't really pick a winner, and I'm sort of winding the clock back and thinking that Hauser and Ada of Austria could well win this one.
They could, historically or in recent times they've been a little off the pace, but yeah, to date they're not the best teams they're up against.
Well, here is the programme for the rest of the weekend. Two races today. We start with the single mixed, which, as I'm sure you know, just involves two athletes in each team. Mixed relay this afternoon. Those look good teams. Italy, France, Norway have all gone strong. And then the mass starts tomorrow. The men's 15K at 2 p.m. The women's at 5 p.m. So a late start. I think they're building in time for a big night out tonight, Mike, and recovery time tomorrow morning. I like it. We've got a fantastic crowd. We're well over the 20,000 mark, waiting for the official figures to come in. But I'd be surprised if we didn't have as many as we had in Oberhof Le Grand Bonnat and Ruhpolding. So that's 4 successive biathlon weeks where we've had well over 20,000 fans. It is a massive success story, and I hope the racing lives up to it today. Well, just one single mixed, as I mentioned, so far this year, and that was in Östersund. Now let's have a look at the highlights of that race. Östersund, the first round of the World Cup, so you never quite know what you're going to get. Germany were brilliant one year. The French always potential winners. The host nation traditionally find it difficult on home snow, but it was a different story on this occasion. 29th. I was going to say the 29th of November is when it all started. This race actually took place on the 30th of November, so it seems an awful long time ago. And the French started very nicely. Fabien Claude, Camille Benet in their team. Now, as I'm sure you remember, 2 legs each for each athlete and 2 chutes on each leg. There is a penalty loop, but it's only half as long as normal. And it wasn't long before Sweden was starting to stamp their authority on this one. Seb Samuelsson teamed up with Ella Halvarsson. The Norwegians had Lygride and Shirka Ida, so a mix of the experienced and the youth. But Sweden with Samuelsson shooting brilliantly. He shot 0-0 on every shoot he had, and that was the key to their success. The French struggled a little, miss from Camille Benet, and then a penalty loop from Fabien Claude really sealed their fate. Ella Halvarsson needing just 1 spare in her penultimate shoot, and I think she knew at that stage if she could clear all the targets in the stand, then it was going to be her day. It wasn't long before she was back on the range and all the targets down, only 2 spares required, and teammate Seb Samuelsson knew that their season was getting off to a successful start. So Sweden taking the win, Norway in second, France in third, Germany in 4, the big 4 in the top 4, and then Austria with Ada and Hauser in 5th place. Second place going to Norway, Maren Shirk-Ida, 4 misses in total. And the French just sneaking in half a second ahead of Germany to take that last podium slot. But a bit of success for Sweden early in the season, Mike.
I loved watching that race again, Patrick, and I think we saw the evidence straight away that the Swedish team had come into this new season with much higher quality shooting. Samuelsson, as you mentioned, 10 out of 10, and they only had 4 spare rounds actually from 40 shots fired.
Yeah, well, we've gone from 2 very well-known Swedish athletes in the first single mix, Lind and Sjökvist. Annie Lind we've hardly seen. She was in the top 50 yesterday. And then Sjökvist Mike just scraping into the Olympic team for Sweden. So that news has come through recently. Is he a reserve, or do you think we're going to see him racing?
They haven't stated. I mean, he's on the initial list. And actually, this final World Cup is allowing teams to name their reserve. So it's a lot of pressure. I think that's why we've seen Richard in the French team performing less well. You can feel they're under pressure, as is the case in any reserve that wants to make it to the Olympics. And quite often a reserve is pulled in, you know, illness, stress, whatever at the Olympics, you can be brought in as your reserve athlete.
Yeah. Fatigue, loss of form, it's an endless list of things that can go wrong. And in terms of the French, Jean-Richard goes in the single mixed. Generally, Mike, the bigger teams give priority to the mixed relay. The smaller teams give priority to the single mix because they may only have two really good athletes. And that's what the Austrians have done.
Yes, the Austrians, what a history the Hauser and Eder have had in this event. Remember in the early days when it came in 2016, they were barely off the podium, often winning, more frequently in second place. And today, I think their hopes will be up, won't they, for a potential win again?
Yeah. Well, we've still got a few minutes to go. While we're waiting, just a reminder, the mixed relay getting off this afternoon, 15:10 local time. So if you're watching in the UK, 2:10, the race will start. We'll be on air at 2 o'clock just to look and see who's in the teams and hopefully make an accurate prediction of who's going to win. How have our predictions been going so far this season, Mike?
Oh, Patrick, I think we're amazing. No, we you know, you get a feel. Today, I think is really exciting because the Swedish team, third World Cup outing for Annie Lind. She'll be nervous. We know Sjökvist works well in relays, and he's been shooting incredibly well. But they're not the strongest of teams, and I think we might be looking further down. Even America today, I think, has a good chance, and with Joanne Reed and Javenka, and he's well had nationality here in Czechia in the past, so good connections to the stadium.
Yeah, I'd like to see Greenland doing well. They've been in the news a bit. They need a bit of a good news story. They're starting team 16. Germany have gone for Marlene Fickner, 22-year-old from Ruhpolding. A really good day in the single mixed at the start of the week. 16th, missed one on each of the first two shoots and then went clear on the back end of the race, which is very difficult to do. And Leonard Funt, Mike, another youngster in the German team.
He's great, Patrick. You know, he won juniors, the individual race. That's always hard to do, and that's where he had a really fantastic race yesterday, missing the two last shots from 20 shots fired. But that's youth pressure. So, but he hasn't done a relay. Just checking that out, he hasn't done a relay since the Junior World Championships on the 5th of March. And a relay is different. You know, yes, you do the drills and training, but you've got a World Cup bib on for his second ever day, and I think there'll be pressure there, but they do shoot well.
Yeah. This is rapidly becoming my favourite format as we go on, and it's nothing to do with the fact that we only have to commentate for about 35 minutes. It is a quick race. So much can change, can't it, Mike? When you go twice, how important and would you approach the two laps you do differently?
I think the scramble, you know, from the mass start, and it's huge today. I think everyone, it's not an unwritten code, but it's going to be fairly steady, I think. And you can't waste too much energy trying to barge through, so you have to play a patient game. The race really starts after the first shoot, as the athletes will lead out onto the track prior to their stand shoot.
Yeah, Martin. Sorry, I was just going. Martin Nevland there. He's one of the good shots in the Norwegian team, and a brilliant race in the short individual, 5th place.
Oh, incredible. The strength of his shooting, the perfect, only 2 athletes shot the perfect 20 in the men's race. He was one of them. So it's going to be interesting. You do need speed, and because it's 1.5 kilometers, Patrick, the athletes are really not used to pacing a 1.5 track. The shortest is normally 2 kilometers for the women, 2.5 for the men. So it's a little unknown when you haven't done it since the beginning of December.
Yeah, and it's quite an inclusive race, isn't it? Most of us could survive a K&a-half before a shoot. Switzerland, a sneaky feeling they might be in the top 3 today. Amy Berserger's having a sensational season. 3 times she's finished in the top 5. And Seb Stalder racing the men's leg for them. And, he, when he has his day, he's a good athlete. 13th in the World Championship sprint event in Lenzerheide last year. And that takes some doing. So keep an eye on the Swiss. Finland, Mike Minkkinen and Seppala. That looks pretty strong.
That's a great team. Remember their first podium in Oberhof, wasn't it, last year in this event? So they've got confidence and they both shoot well. You need to shoot well today in this very short impact racing.
Well, the stands are packed. The tracks are surrounded. We're not 5 deep, we're 10, 15 deep on the big climb. That's going to help the athletes on probably the hardest part of the course. It is a short loop of just 1.5K. So, Mike, they've got to do that 4 times. 4 times each.
It's really an intense race. You can see the climb there, quite easy out of the stadium initially for the first 600 metres, then the very steep climb. Generally, it's easy back towards the range, except for the, what is it, a 10-12 metre rise prior to coming into the flat range area.
Yeah, and worth pointing out that the athlete that goes last does an extra loop after the final shoot. And today, that is the men. They alternate, as we should do nowadays. And therefore, the man has a slightly more important role in terms of the skiing. Nothing, the shooting is absolutely equal.
It is, and there's no, looking all the way down the list, and with total respect, there are no massive biathlon names in terms of speedsters on skis. It's a little bit of an unknown. Emilien Claude is probably the fastest on the last leg, and he's the French athlete.
Yeah, it was his brother who took the French team in Östersund at the start of the season that we saw at the head of the programme. And today, Emilien is teamed up with Jean Richard, who I wonder what her mood's like, Mike. The last 2, 3, 4 years has all been about the Olympics, and now her only chance is to go as a reserve.
It's tough, and it's really tough, and she's actually just come into this race this morning. Camila Benet was on the list last night, so clearly she's unwell today, and it's a big moment for Richard.
So Annie Lind goes on the first leg for Sweden. I think they'll be happy if they're still in touch after that first run. Sweden certainly nowhere near as strong as they were up in Östersund. Norway with Arne Clive and Nevland, who's probably their trump card. Jean Richard, Emilien Claude for France. Fichtner and Fund for Germany. Could be a bit of a tongue twister there as the race goes on. Hauser and Ada, the oldest team in the book, and so experienced. Be fascinating to see, what are they, combined age of 73, Mike.
Could compare that to the German team, combined age of 43.
A wall of spectators, and as soon as these gongs stop, the noise will start, and it won't finish for another 35 minutes. Fingers crossed the Czech team put in a good performance. Shvatova, Makiska, they're certainly capable, I think, of staying with the leaders, but they've got a bad start. They're down in 13th and quite a way behind Sweden, Norway and France, who are on the front of the grid. So away, wow, how about that? The noise alone, I think, is going to push them out of the stadium.
Oh, it is. It will be, I would imagine, Jean Richard at the front there. She'll probably be the pace setter. And I worried a little bit, Patrick, about Annie Lind. In Ruhpolding last week, perfect shooting. She hit 30 targets from 30 shots. However, she only went from 33rd to 28th in the pursuit. So not the fastest skier out here today.
Yeah, I hope all the athletes have got their earplugs in. Mike, did you race with earplugs? I know most biathletes train with them.
Yeah, I didn't like it. You know, you need awareness, I felt, on the track. I did not like losing any of the awareness that you need out here, feeling noise or athletes around you.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I thought you were going to say you thought you might be able to breathe through your ears as well, because you need every bit of oxygen that you can get. It's not a bad pace. The Swiss have gone hard. Amy Basurga, I've been so impressed with her this year. Be great to see her shoot clear. Is it going to be their day? It's so difficult to call this one in terms of who's going to win. The Italians, Mike, they've gone for Ockenthaler and Braunhofer. Where do you put them in terms of ranking?
I like it, Patrick. I think they're very much a podium contender today. Not deeply experienced. We know that Patrick Braunhofer, he shoots really well. Ockenthaler in relays normally provides all 10 targets down. So, yep, for me, they are in that, 7 teams that could win this race today.
Yeah, and when you're at the front, you can control the pace, and Amy Basurga just taking it easy. This is the point to accelerate, and she does exactly that, and that will open the gaps massively, because those at the back of the pack who are there by the virtue of the fact there's no space to ski suddenly find themselves 100 meters behind.
Yes, and Schlettermark, sadly, she couldn't get through. Team Greenland nearly 13 seconds behind. That's substantial in the first, 1 minute 40 of racing.
So just remind us of the format, Mike. They know about the 1.5 kilometre loop and then into the shooting.
So that's it. So this is first lap. It's prone shooting after this first lap. If you missed your targets with your 3 spare rounds used, you turn left onto a 75-metre penalty lap, probably taking around 13 seconds. And then you're going around this 1.5 kilometre track for your second time. You shoot standing, and then you immediately, after the penalty loop, if you need to go on to it, hand over to your teammates. So the first of the men's outings will come in 1 more lap's time.
Well, no surprise to see Suvi Minkkinen move towards the front, and she, I think, will not be happy if she doesn't finish this first leg in the lead. Minkkinen came here, she was going to go training prior to the Olympics, but because there was still a realistic chance of winning the overall World Cup, she's made the trip to Novе-Mesto. It's an experience that all biathletes should get, Mike. This is just sensational, and every week it seems to get better and better.
I think it has to be the loudest entrance. You know, you're passing the stands on your left shoulder all the way around here, and it really is loud. Don't quite get that feeling on what we're hearing through our screens.
Yeah, and the silence before the start of the race, that's not been matched either.
Yeah, very peaceful, very, very quiet. And the noise will change soon when Sharvatova starts shooting.
So the shooting records are good from some of the top athletes. Arne Clive on 95. Minkkinen, who's had considerably more races in the World Cup than Arne Clive, still on 93% hit rate. Those further down the field, obviously getting to their firing point quicker. And Czechia, a miss from Czechia. Remember, they've got 3 spare rounds, and Ukraine have used one already. That was very, very quick work. Norway go clear, Germany clear, France taking their time, but they get the targets down. Jean Richard needs a brilliant race today if she's going to get any chance of racing at the Olympic Games. Czechia go 5 eventually. Problems for Australia. Greenland. Now, Greenland, one of the things they've done brilliantly this year is the shooting, but that's not such a good start.
I don't know if you saw Annie Lind here. She's not the fastest skier, I mentioned that. She thought she hit the last shot. She broke her position onto her knees and then realised I missed. You know, the brain sometimes gets confused. You feel it's a perfect shot. She wasted 12 seconds.
Yeah, I wonder if she fired at exactly the same time as her neighbour, heard the chink of a hit and not the thud of a miss.
It's strange. Your brain there's so much going on around you. You're trying to compose yourself. Your heartbeat is at close to maximum. So there are so many high-end stress levels when you're shooting. This looks like Annie Lind.
So work to do for Sweden, who find themselves down in 14th position, 25 seconds off the leaders. So it's a different look to the field as they come out. We've got 6 teams in that leading group. Just off the pace is France with Jean-Richard, who I would imagine will be able to close down. She has done. Czechia are coming back into it. Well done to the local team. Came out of the range 10 seconds behind. I think they'll cut that gap fairly significantly to 6 or 7. France at 4, Ukraine at 4.3, 6 seconds for Shvatova of Czechia, and USA and the United States looking for they're only ranked number 18 in this event.
Yes, that's a good start, and Reid often gets all 5 down with 5 shots fired. She did that today. Little surprised at Austria, Patrick. Hauser using 2 spares. Often they've done the full 40 shots only using 2 spares. It's a little technical here. You can see the athletes bracing themselves. There's a little icy in section, so everyone a little cautious on this fast left-hander.
And before you can blink, they're back into the stadium again. Constant noise. There's so often with Nordic events and biathlon, Mike, all the focus is on the range area. That's what I like about the design here. The tracks take up very, very little space, so you're always surrounded by noise and support.
It's almost like a bobsleigh track, isn't it? Except you're going uphill where it twists and curves in a small area.
And
look at the wall of spectators. It's scary coming into a range where there's so much interest from the spectators.
Yeah, you would think that we were right on the edge of a city with millions of people to get this sort of support, but Novе-Место is in the middle of nowhere. What are we, 2 hours drive at least from Prague? Tomorrow evening it's going to be a lot longer than that. The traffic jams are usually horrendous on the way to the airport, but most of the spectators coming from Prague, and so far they seem to have enjoyed themselves here today. Mixed relay this afternoon, mass starts tomorrow. It's a great programme. Now, is anyone going to steal a lead in the early stages? Suvi Minkkinen, her standing shooting so far this year has been excellent.
Out of character, Minkkinen missing the second shot. She'll probably get the rest.
Yeah, Amy Berserga with 2 misses. So remember, only 3 spare rounds. France snuck their way to the front again. Great shooting from Jean-Richard. Just what she needed. If she does the same again, I think the French selectors will have to look at the performance. It's been a tough year for her. Austria get 5 down. Hauser much better in the stand than she was in the prone. America in trouble, Mike. 2 misses at the end of the shoot, and now they've got to go through the spares.
Oh, that's tough. It's tough moments when you're on your last couple of chances. The pressure builds, and that's quite tough for Joanna Reid right now. No problem. Two spares used. Targets went down easily.
So Finland first in, first out. France did well, came in 7th, and they've gone out in 2nd place. Slovakia have 5 down. The host nation in 9th at the moment, 22.4 behind. I think there'll be a few twists and turns. So often, Mike, the athletes that we don't see racing at the front of the field, one of the big differences is their consistency. And because they got to go twice today, there's a very big probability that they'll have problems on one of the two legs.
It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? Well, Okantala for Italy, she used 3 spare rounds prone. Last shot was the last chance. 3 spare rounds standing, but it really has set the Italian team nearly a minute behind this rapid lead from Switzerland.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough comeback for the Italians. Patrick Braunhofer lined up for their second run. Czechia now at 21, having come out of the range at 22. So already starting to pull back a little bit of time. But Makiska has got to do it gradually. Going round for Sweden, that was Henning Sjöqvist. Their handover position. Where was Sweden?
Sweden
11th, right in the middle of the field.
Yes, she did. Annie Lind picked up 3 seconds in her very rapid fire stand shooting, hitting all 5 with 5. I said Switzerland are leading. Of course, there's a couple up ahead. It's led by Emilienne Claude, the French athlete.
Yeah, I don't think Amy Beserga will be over the moon about her first leg. She really should have been level. Now the Swiss relying on Seb Stulder, who's he's strong, looking very comfortable with the pace being set at the moment. Germany with Leonard Funt, an up-and-coming name. What can we expect from him? I'd be amazed if we don't see him putting in a couple of top 15 results next year.
It feels that way, Patrick, from looking at his junior, especially the big events, the Junior World Championships, to take a title there, never easy, and to hit all the targets anywhere as a junior or a senior, that's never easy either.
Yeah, and actually, because the German team haven't really been shining this year, I think Funt could become a regular in the team, and he had a brilliant race yesterday, 13th position in the short individual. So here we go, shoot number 3, the first for the second leg athletes. And on lane 1, France with Emilienne Claude. Lane 2, shooting left-eyed, is Finland with Tero Seppälä.
Seppälä missed the first shot, but he's settled into the next 3.
Now, Ukraine, Mike, have a great history,
yes,
along with Belarus in team events, and they're going to get away first. So that's a little bit of a turn-up for the books.
Yes, Vitaly Manchin, he's regular, he's safe on the range, and Horodna looked brilliant first leg.
Now, so often in the relays, some of the minor nations are leading at halfway or in the top 5 and threatening to finish on the podium, and then Germany, Norway, France, Sweden come back and keep them all well off the podium. Today, I think it's going to be a different scenario.
Oh, Czechia on the penalty loop. I did not expect that. This is his home range. What a shame.
Well, at least it's only 75 metres, but it's going to push Czechia some way behind. They went through the first exchange just 22 seconds off the pace. We saw that Mansell was closing the gap, Mike, and I wonder whether, not Mansell, for Czechia, it was Makiska closing that gap to the leaders, and I wonder whether he pushed too hard.
You know, often that is the case. You override your feelings. You think, I've got to pull myself back into this after the first leg, Shavatova's leg. It didn't work out.
Yeah, he gained 3 or 4 seconds. With his shooting, he's gone and lost 25-26. Well, there's the leading group. Ukraine just tucked in behind France. Finland are still there. Germany with a good chance. I think this is Switzerland coming up the hill. It is. And Seb Stulder with a bit of a gap to close. Norway, who have Arne Kleiv and Nevland. Nevland's a great shot. Austria are still there. Simon Adel looks to be struggling just a little, doesn't he?
Yeah, and really surprised. Simon Eder, his usual fast shooting, Patrick, but like Hauser, he had to use 2 spares in prone shooting. That's really out of character from both of the Austrian athletes.
Now, Austria wearing bib number 5. Eder at 42. Mike, he's older than Bjorndalen was when Bjorndalen went to Sochi for the Olympic Games and won the sprint event.
Yes, he is. And, you know, impossible things. Many said it was impossible for Björn Dahlin to win again. And what was it? By 0.4 of a second, he won the sprint race. I thought that was one of his... He's had so many great races, but I thought that was his best moment.
Yeah. Who was second?
Second was an Austrian, wasn't it?
Was it Mesetic?
Or Landetinger, I think it was Landy.
But Anton Shapulin was the man who should have won it, really, for Russia. Missed the target on the last shoot. What a race that was. Well worth looking up in the archives. Now the French focusing. They've not had any issues so far. Second shoot, second leg. We're back to the standing position.
The pace was formed there, Patrick. They now have to get into their stable, controlled from the madness of the physical action on the track. You've somehow to try and calm your mind down to try and get these small targets at 50 metres.
Yeah, Seppala facing lane 4 as opposed to lane 2. A miss for Ukraine and Finland. France are still clean, but I spoke too soon, and suddenly the pressure is mounting. It's very early in the relay for the pressure to be mounting like this, and Finland with a little bit of an advantage. Good shooting from Seppala. Maybe everyone should switch to the left-hand shoot. Germany, Mike, are they coming out second? No, it's going to be Ukraine in second, France tightly behind them, and the top 4 are still going to be within 15 seconds of each other.
The pace was severe. Emilian Claude really put a firm pace. It made him suffer. It made Manson suffer on the range. Ada again having to use spare rounds.
So Finland away, Ukraine at 7.8 at exchange 2, France at 10, Germany at 11, Switzerland at 16, Norway 22 seconds behind. The veterans from Austria, they're still close enough. They are still close enough. Each athlete still has to go once, has to shoot twice. And then, of course, the men have that final lap of the 1.5 when all the shooting is completed. Sweden, I think, Mike, have they blown it? They were 11th when I last looked at the table, and they've not really made any advances. They've gone up to 10.
And strangely, it's ski speed that's letting them down. Their shooting is good, only, what, 3 spare rounds used so far, and that's decent shooting today. I think Minkin and Patrick will now really try and hold on to this advantage, extend that 7.8 seconds.
Yeah, and because it's so short, Mike, I know the penalty lap takes a little bit less time because it's only 75 metres. But the use of the spare round is no quicker than it is in any relay. And therefore, if one of these leading teams can go 10 with 10, that could make all the difference.
It's a huge turnaround, you're right. 6 seconds there, so precious. 3 spare rounds, you're looking at 15, maybe up to 18 wasted seconds to hand feed the spare rounds. Minkinen really is trying to push the pace.
Yeah, so having said the minor teams have a real chance, those who rarely win, Finland and Ukraine, still amongst the leaders. Finland, of course, with a brilliant win in a single mix last year. That actually has proved to be a catalyst that has, you know, led to a rise in standard from the whole team.
Do you know, if one of your teammates can touch a podium or put in a good result, even shooting results, that ripples, it really can and should ripple through the team.
Yeah, so the podium I'd like to see, Switzerland, Finland, Ukraine. Actually, Ukraine, Switzerland, Finland.
It would be. I would love to see Ukraine in that mix there, especially at the top of the podium. Just that would just make me have good feeling for biathlon. But I think Norway are still alive in this race. Czechia are still alive, even though they've been on the penalty loop, Patrick. I think they can come back. 45 seconds. I don't think they can afford to miss another target. Suvi Minkinen, her shooting this year. It's obviously been better than it has been in the past. 93% in the prone, 88 in the stand.
Ukraine wearing 12, that's Elena Horodna. She's 90% in the prone, but only 73% in the stand. So fingers crossed for her on her second shoot on this, her final leg.
Noticing Horodna really backing off now, pushing hard on the track, but really trying to slow it now into the range.
Now, we saw one or two athletes shooting prone in around 21 seconds. I think Minkkinen may just take a little bit more time. That's the worst start. She actually didn't spend long preparing for that first shot.
Surprised at Minkkinen, and that's so expensive. She's very quick at the spare round placement into the chamber.
That's 6 seconds, Mike, between hitting the fifth target, reloading, and hitting the first, which she missed first time round.
It's expensive.
Ukraine have closed the gap a little, I think. France and Germany are getting closer. That's the Swiss in a spot of bother. Amy Berserger's so much better than that. Needs a 5 with 5 in the stand, and that's another 7 or 8 seconds gone.
You could feel the frustration, the anxiety in her face there. She got it.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever play golf, Mike, but if you fluff a bunker shot, the next one tends to be perfect. Why couldn't you do it first time round?
I've been there, and then you focus more and you try harder, and yeah, sometimes that can even go wrong. This is tough times now for the Czechia team, and I think their chances of a podium are beginning now to slip away.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. The crowd are going to have to wait for this afternoon. But I think Czechia's real chance, Mike, was this morning. Yislava, Vabornikova, Hornig and Krishmarsh are lined up for the mixed relay this afternoon. It is possible, but France look very strong, Italy looks strong, Norway looks strong, and I think they'll be able to keep the Czechs off. But I think a top 4 probably possible this afternoon at the best.
This is tough to watch. Annie Lind, you know, she hit 30 out of 30 in her second ever World Cup race in Ruhpolding last week, and this is a tough moment now. She's had to push her pace outside her comfort zone. Her ski speed is slightly off the pace, and it's putting her shooting slightly off as well.
That's going to keep Sweden well over a minute behind. In fact, they were a minute 14 behind coming in. I think that may well have gone up to a minute and a half. And I'm just starting to think we're going to see a few teams lap, Mike, because Suvi Minkkinen has been away for a long, long time.
Yes, I think we will. I'm trying to... Greenland are doing well. They're in 14th position. Well, that was at the exchange.
15 seconds ahead.
Slightly puzzled, Mike. The best shooting team so far today are the French, but they're 10 seconds off the pace. They've only missed 2 targets. So Richard and Claude have been doing brilliantly on the range.
But that's strange, you know, when you look on paper, you would say that that the French team are the fastest track skiers. Richard, we know, is fast, up there alongside almost Jean Monod and Brézat Boucher. And Emilien Claude yesterday, top 6 in the individual for the men. Maybe he's tired today.
Yeah, this is a brutal pace that this quartet are setting. Amy Berserger just off the pace behind them, about 40 metres behind the chase group, and out in front with a luxurious lead of 13.8 seconds is Suvi Minkkinen of Finland, who would love to clear her last 5 targets. Because she's got that lead, Mike, and you can see it now, does she use that time just to bring the breathing and the pulse under control, or do you think she does what she would normally do in an individual race?
I think she'll go fast, Patrick, and she normally does, so I would imagine that first shot will leave the barrel in about 15 seconds, maybe less. She'll stick to routine, and she'll try and maximise or increase this 13-second lead into the range.
When are you going to start the stopwatch?
I'm going to start it as soon as she stops moving. So that's generally as soon as you touch the mat, and then the first shot. What are we on? 9,
10 seconds. 10 seconds. Excellent shooting, but she pays the price on the second one. Way out to the right-hand side. 3 and 4 go down. 5 goes down. And she could clear 5 before anyone else gets 1. She does. Oh. Great shooting from Minkinen. Now, France, Germany, Norway, if they want to stay in this, have to clear 5 with 5. France might do it. They're all clean so far. They're all clean. Wow, how about that? And it's Ukraine who are struggling now.
Oh, that's a shame. There's still 2 spare rounds. Seppel, I would have imagined in his mind at least one of the 3, maybe 2 of the 3 chasers would slow down on the range, but they haven't. 5 out of 5.
So the women's work is done, and they can just sit back and enjoy the next 7 or 8 minutes with the men out on the tracks. 22 minutes on the clock at just under 9K. That's better from Hauser, but too little too late, I think. And Czechia, it's not been the sort of race we were expecting from them.
Shabatova, that was a massive movement as she pulled the trigger. Her shooting had improved so much. December, best we've seen for many years, but it's dropped away.
Yeah, the pulse is still on 145, and she's struggling to contend with that.
Good job, a lot of pressure on that last chance.
Penalty loops for the Americans, and Czechia we know about. Latvia have done 2. Yeah, well done to Greenland. They've only missed, by my reckoning, they've only missed 5 targets so far. So of the minor nations, Greenland are doing a really good job.
Yes, and a brother and sister team working well together. They've been taught well by their parents, haven't they, in terms of shooting. Finland, with the speed that Minkinen shot, 10 seconds to the first shot. Yes, she had to use a spare round, but I thought they were going to be at least 20 seconds ahead going into this first of his 2 laps for Seppala. Or 2 laps prior to his stand shoot, and then the final 1.5.
But Mike, Minkinen shot fast, but remember she used a spare round. Anna Clive came in 11.9 behind, but then didn't require a spare. So she's maintained that margin. It was 11. They're losing a fraction, but they are still very much in this one. This next prone shoot, which is the penultimate shoot of the race, is absolutely crucial for those who want to win this one.
And you know, Ukraine can still get in the mix there at the front, but Manzin has to get 5 out of 5. He has to keep his composure. It's a huge moment for Ukraine, close to the podium, but needs perfection on the range.
Yeah, and Ukraine were 27 behind. They've got to shoot perfectly. Looks as though they've closed that gap a little bit. France have missed 2, as we mentioned. Germany have only missed 3. Norway have missed 5. And Nevland, I think, will be a little bit disappointed with his shooting on the first leg, Mike. But don't forget, he hit 20 out of 20 yesterday in the short individual, or in fact on the first day of this meet.
I thought Seppala's facial expressions very composed, very relaxed. Oh, the last shot.
Yeah, I was just about to say, one of the best prones we've seen so far this season. So a mistake from France. Nevland spends an extra 2-3 seconds preparing. Is that the tactic that is going to pay off? Finland are away. France are in real trouble now. I think their victory has flown out the door, and Germany and Norway stay side by side. Can Ukraine clear 5? Not at the first time of asking. And France might, 1 shot, 1 target. If they miss this, they could miss the podium altogether. They've still got a chance, but it's a slim one. And Ukraine missed their chance as well.
Oh. He had to take longer to put that one down. He had to make sure he didn't want to use a third spare round.
So Stolder is closing. Simon Ada. Oh. Immaculate shooting from Simon Ada. Year after year at 42, Mike. I don't know how his eyes do it.
You know, the reactions, people say your reaction slowed down. Oh, you're 30-year-old, you're slower. It doesn't happen. He's faster than ever. His reactions are instant.
Yeah, but the target, the sight, is nowhere near as clear as it was when he was 21.
I could agree with that. And the speed on the track, sadly, maybe not quite as it used to be.
Yeah. Well done from Manzan. That will get the crowd going for the final loop. Hopefully he clears 5 on his next shoot.
They're still supporting, of course they have to. Makishka.
Yeah, there's a big difference, isn't there, Mike? We had an incredible reception for the Czech athletes yesterday. They're not really expecting to win. They just want to see a good performance.
Yeah.
A little bit of luxury for Finland. And with 7 of the 8 shoots completed, they've got a lead, but it's still only around 10 seconds, Mike. So Seppälä can afford 1 missed shot. He's probably 1.5 missed shots ahead of the other 2 teams, France, Norway and Germany. France have dropped back to 4th. They're at 24 seconds, so are relying on mistakes from the leading teams. But this is Finland's moment.
It is, you know, and they've been here before that World Cup in Oberhof last year. They only won by, what, 5.8 seconds, was it? Behind, with the French team chasing them hard.
Yeah, that was a good bit of history. 2 wins in 2 years, and that an indication that Finnish biathlon is on the charge. 10 seconds, Mike. We're down to about 10 meters, and great work from Germany. Leonard Fundt has pushed hard, but has he pushed too hard? There's 1 shoot remaining, 5 targets at 50 meters in the standing position. Probably the loudest crowd that we've had this year. The only difference, Mike, is the crowd aren't really reacting to the leaders' targets and shooting results.
It's incredible, absolute silence. They're waiting for their team to come through, which it's another, 40 seconds. Makishka will be in.
Where's your money? Finland?
This is tough. Yeah, I feel he's was so relaxed, I felt, last time in. Yes, I'll stick with Finland. Fundt has a lot to prove. He wants to say, listen, bring me into the World Cup team as a regular.
Well, this will make Fundt if he shoots Germany into the lead here. Now, Seppälä, remember, missed the last target. He's done the same again. He has done the same again. Fundt will have noticed that. Can he clear number 5? No, he can't. So it's even Stevens, but Finland, on virtue of coming in with a lead of 5 or 6 meters, are going to go out with a lead of 5 or 6 meters. And Nevland of Norway is setting himself up for a tough ski on the last loop, and he may well have the French to catch. Is this Ukraine and Switzerland's chance to come through and snatch 3rd place? Norway have it at the moment. Might as well go for broke, I think, if you're Ukraine and Switzerland.
Definitely, but there's high risk. Manson, its brain is saying, I've got to get this, and he held too long.
Oh, that last target, Mike, it's as if it's half the size.
It's tough. And Fundt is only 3.5 seconds on the chase to Seppälä on the track now.
Simoneida misses number 1. Even he can't show us how it is done. And definitely a drop-off in standard of shooting. Now, Czechia. Can they clear 5 out of 5? We'll know about it if they do. There's the first one, and the second one, and the third one. And number 4, and down goes number 5. We don't even have to see what's going on. Brilliant.
This is interesting on the track, Patrick. Fundt has gone early. Is he trying to break away? He certainly is. The momentum up the steep climb.
Well, that's a good burst. They did not have much to catch up, but it's a fantastic effort from Fundt, and Germany will be delighted. They'll already be writing the headlines about a superstar of the future. Leonard Fundt blasting past the Finns in the closing stages. He's still got to shake him off. Nevland and Claude having a great battle for that 1 remaining podium place. Claude, the most experienced, Mike, and I think probably a little bit quicker on the sprint, but I'm really guessing there because we've not seen those two in a sprint before.
Oh, this is going to be a test. I think Emilian will probably take this chase.
Yeah, it's tactical, isn't it, here, Mike? And Claude, at the moment, for me, is playing it right. Stick in behind, get some assistance, and there's the last climb up into the stadium that could be decisive.
Oh, and at the front, Seppala still trying. Oh, but Funt, he's put everything on the table. Seppala can't stay with it, looking to his right, so he's saving, or he's securing second place.
Yeah, so Germany are going to claim this one, and that will be their first relay victory of the season. There have been precious few since 2006 and the Winter Olympics in Torino, but this is one that they will enjoy. And a great pairing, Fichtner and Fund, take the win here in Czechia, and Finland, who led for what must have been 80% of the race, are overtaken with a kilometre to go and nothing they can do about it. And you're absolutely right, Mike. Claude is the stronger of the two and takes third for France. Norway having to settle for 4. What a race!
What a race, Patrick. I think that what we've witnessed today is going to bring the youngster, the German youngster, as a reserve to the Olympics. They've got their reserve named in the women's side, but they've left it open for this World Cup. I think he might have bought himself some magic Olympic experience.
Yeah, he may not get a race, but the experience will still be valuable. Switzerland and Ukraine in a battle for 5 and 6. Switzerland look to have taken that one. They don't even need a photo finish. Very difficult from the head-on shot to predict who wins. And it would be nice to see a little bit of a sprint from Makiska, just for the crowd.
Come on, cheer the crowd up.
There's one man who would definitely do it, and that is Emilian Jacquelin.
Oh, he had to push so hard after his slow and use of 3 spare rounds prone shooting. He really killed himself on the track.
Yeah, and the shooting tells the story for Czechia. 14 misses in all, and a very, very expensive penalty loop pushed them over a minute behind the winners. Poland, I don't think Poland got a mention, Mike, despite being ranked number 7. Jakiela and Skarusa.
They shot well, I thought, with only 9 spare rounds. I thought it would be better, but today they would have needed only 2 spare to get up in the mixed for a top 5. I'm just thinking, Patrick, the great combination of Hauser and Eder for the Austrians. I think it's their worst ever shooting. In the early days, 8 spare rounds was a bad day for them, and they were even making the podium at that stage in their career. But 10 spare rounds used to date.
Yeah, do you think that's anything to do with the fact that they knew if they performed at their best, they could have won this one? And so often they know that if they perform at the best, they might finish 4th or 5th.
I know it is quite strange. I thought, that they are historically used to that pressure. If we have a great day on the range, we can win this race, which they did many times in the past. And today, the pressure just seemed to get to them. Maybe it was the pace they had to push in terms of the ski pace. Yeah, Italy, a big disappointment.
Yeah, the same for Sweden, down in 12th place. Remember, Sweden winning the first single mixed of the season. And there is a mixed relay standings. And with France finishing 3rd, Norway behind them, it's going to be very tight, but I think France are going to be leading that. And it's been some week for the French already, Mike. A 1-2 in the men's short individual, a 1-2 in the women's short individual. They are coming to the boil just before the Olympic Games.
Great performance, I think, from the Greenland team, brother and sister, and their shooting has been not as good as we had hoped for, so the skiing speed counted today to take them to 17th.
Yeah, Ukalek and Sondra Slettermark, a name that's been associated with biathlon for many, many years now, both their parents racing for a long period of time.
They certainly were. And I think, of course, Oystein raced through to 40-year-old. He was still racing World Cup. Their father, fast experience.
Now, Cervenka, Mike, racing for USA. Does he have Czech roots? I suspect he does.
Yes, he does, from this area. And I'm not sure of the passport connection. Obviously, a parent, probably American.
Well, there's the youngster who sealed the victory for Germany. It was a good race from Marlene Fichtner, Mike, but really Leonard Fundt is the man who's going to steal the headlines. That was a great comeback for him. They were down in 4th place at the last exchange, 12.5 seconds off the leaders, Finland, and he still had work to do when he came out of the range for the last time.
You know, Germany needs some positivities in the men's field in biathlon at the World Cup, and I think we're looking at a much brighter future now.
Yeah, not only have they won the race, but they won the shooting contest as well, Mike. Only 4 spares required from Germany, and that was all important on those last couple of shoots. Finland in the end pushed down a 2. France in 3, out sprinting Norway, who go 4, and the Swiss, oh, the Swiss will be so disappointed. That was a real opportunity. Berserga Stolder really should have been up on the podium positions.
The trouble with this race, Patrick, you know, you are taking a much higher element of risk in terms of your shooting. You want to shoot fast to get 5 out of 5, and you sometimes lose your way. Your brain goes into a locked phase. You just think about speed and not about hitting.
So the first race of the day, it goes to Germany with Finland and France in 2 and 3. We've got a little bit of a wait before the second race. Starts at just after 3 o'clock local time, so 2:10 in the UK. The beer tents are here over the years, Mike. This stadium has been developed, and it's had a fantastically positive effect on the local area. It's a huge biathlon and cross-country skiing scene now.
It is. The fields are good for skiing, and they prepare the tracks well outside of the stadium as well.
So good, Mike, for a lot of these athletes to be involved in a fight at the front end of the field, which most of them will never, ever have been in this situation.
And it's a huge test of how do you cope with pressure. And this young man, 22-year-old, he coped incredibly well. Yes, he missed his last shot. He missed his last 2 shots yesterday from 20 shots fired, but that's because of the massive situation. It's a 3rd ever day of World Cup racing.
Yeah, he's a powerful-looking man. Typical sort of German skier. Be interesting to see how he goes in Ruhpolding next year. I'm assuming he'll be in the team. He's got biceps bigger than my thighs. He's a monster.
And he's only going to improve. He's pretty much there already, isn't he? But imagine coming in next year.
Now, this is something we haven't seen enough of over the years, Mike. Germany celebrating a win at the World Cup. Yes, we all know that there are big teams and big players missing, but it's a win, and you can only beat those who turn up. Yeah, really impressed, and I think Fundt has shown himself to be world class.
He has. France, I think, will be disappointed. Too many spare shots. Well, I say too many. It was only 6. It was a confusing race, sadly, for the French.
Well, for me, Jean Richard ran a really good race, Mike. I think Emilien Claude really was the weak link in that pair.
Yes, and 3 of those spare rounds were used on his prone last time in.
Well, I thought it was going to be quite a wait, but it's only an hour or so before we'll be back on air for the mixed relay. Germany going to be celebrating like that.
Congratulations.
Here they are.
What a crazy victory for you, Marlene. It's the first time in the World Cup on the top of the podium. How did you watch and experience this final loop?
Yeah, I'm so happy about this race, and yeah, the final loop was so crazy. Leo was, escalating the last uphill, so yeah, crazy race. So we're just happy about it.
For you, it's only the 2nd start in the World Cup and already on top of the world. How did you do it?
I had just had really much fun. The crowd was amazing, and I was just lucky to be here, and that made my race today. Yeah.
Can you tell us maybe about this final loop?
Yeah, I was feeling really fresh, and I was so motivated, and I knew I'm fit, and the skiers are fast, and yeah, then I just escalated, as Marlene said.
Congratulations, this was absolutely fantastic.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think he's going to be doing a few interviews over coming years, Mike. Great pictures. Both of them really, really excited with that win, and pushes Germany up into third place in the mixed relay score. France staying on top with 220, and Norway some 25 points behind. In terms of mixed relays, we have 3 more of the season. One of those is this afternoon.
And I think the German quartet will be certainly motivated by what they've witnessed here. It'll be a good positive. They're ranked 8th in the mixed relay, but Weidel, Gebinger, Reichmuller and Roman Rees, they've got to be impressed with what they've just witnessed. I think the team, a couple of teams who will be disappointed. Well, Italy in 14th, they expected better, but 2 times around the penalty loop is 2 times too much. Sweden, good shooting actually, 8 spare rounds, but down in 12th position.
Yeah, Norway and France, once again, the top 2 nations in the Nations Cup. That's on the men's side, and Norway, it's quite a close one this year, Mike. Actually, only a couple of 100 points in it. That can easily swing, especially if one team loses a couple of their big names at a World Cup meet. And we've got a way to go in the season. The Olympics, of course, will have 100% of our attention. In the women's standings, France on top. What are they? Just under 300 points clear of Sweden, who've been going great guns with the rise of Anna Magnusson joining the 2 Öberg sisters. The Öbergs modelling their new Olympic kit. Were you impressed?
I was very impressed. You know, Hannah did a very quick video display of all the kit, you know, from the opening ceremony to her race suit. I do like the race suit, more dark colours in it than their normal white and yellow. So, yeah, it looks good, actually.
V rámci závodu nejlepší běžecký čas 27:41:7.
Just thinking of Olympic uniforms, Patrick. Lots of countries go for bright and bold and loud colours, which you can't really wear after the Olympics. But Sweden, they went for the darker opening ceremony colours, which you could easily use downtown Östersund. There's Øystein Schlettermark on the left there, father of the Greenland athletes.
1 o'clock in the afternoon to try and acclimatise themselves to the racing schedule that they're going to encounter.
Spot on. I think that is the way you should do it, and that many teams have looked at approaching the preparation prior to the Olympics.
Yeah, they go to great lengths. Obviously, the preparation of the skis is something that they will have been focusing on for months and months. Antolt's not so difficult. It's high, 1,600 metres, so it's mostly natural snow. So they don't have the problems that they had in Sochi and they had in Pyeongchang and certainly had in Beijing. So that's one problem out of the way. I remember in Beijing, Mike, the Swedes knew that it was going to be an easterly wind blowing from left to right in the range, so they brought in these massive fans just to try and imitate the wind conditions that they were going to get.
Oh, do you know, and just for your athletes, even considering that, you think, okay, well, this is going to make it easier. Even psychologically, all these little preemptive training ideas do work.
Well, hardly anyone has budged. I guess it's warmer in a pack. Hasn't been bitterly cold, but the humidity is very, very high. So the French finishing in third today. with Jean-Richard, Emilien Claude.
Just thinking, had Czechia been better, I think, had they touched the podium, I think many of the spectators would be down now in the beer tents behind the stadium stands, but now just psyching up for the next race.
Yeah. Now, Finland should really have won that one, shouldn't they, Mike? Suvi Minkinen, I didn't think her shooting was quite as good as she's capable of.
And we saw that, didn't we? The missing 3 targets in the individual, down way below her expectation. She wanted to win 2 days ago for the women. So yes, she's a little off in terms of shooting form. I do think she'll bring that back into the Olympics, calm time after these hectic 3 World Cup racings.
Yeah, I'm glad you've got confused with the days as well. Thursday was the men's individual, yesterday was the women's, and then obviously onto the mixed relays today.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, that's... you know, when the coach gives you a big hug like that, you know you've done something right.
Yeah. No, actually, it was the women yesterday, the 12K.
It was the women's yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. There seems to have been some delay on the flower ceremony, so we are going to take our leave from Novе-Место for now. We'll be back at the top of the hour for the mixed relay. We'll see you then.